My name is Aaron Mitchell, 44 years old, and the certified letter that arrived on a Tuesday afternoon informed me that my younger brother Ethan was claiming adverse possession of my house. The same house I'd let him stay in rent-free for 13 months after he lost his job and his wife kicked him out. The legal document, stamped and notarized, argued that because he'd been residing continuously and maintaining the property, he'd established tenancy rights that could lead to ownership under Oregon law. What Ethan didn't know was that I'd been documenting everything since month 3 when he stopped looking for work and started talking about our house instead of your house. When someone you save tries to steal the roof over your head, do you warn them you saw it coming, or do you let their own lawyer walk them straight into a criminal fraud charge? Let me take you back to March 2023, when my phone rang at 11 p.m. on a Thursday. Ethan's voice was rough, like he'd been crying. "Aaron, I need help. Jess threw me out. I'm sitting in my car outside a Motel 6 in Beaverton, and I don't have anywhere to go." My brother was 41 years old, had been married for 9 years, working as a project manager at a tech company in Hillsboro, where he had been until the layoffs. 3 months unemployed, burning through savings, fighting with his wife about money and job applications he wasn't filling out. Jessica had finally had enough. "Come to my place," I said. "I'll text you the address." I lived in a 3-bedroom house in southeast Portland. Bought it in 2019 for $380,000, a craftsman with original hardwood floors and a backyard big enough for my dog. I was divorced, no kids, worked as a senior systems analyst for the city. The house had a guest room that I used for storage and occasional visitors. Ethan showed up at midnight with 2 suitcases and a garbage bag of clothes. He looked destroyed, unshaven, hollow-eyed, reeking of desperation. "Just until I get back on my feet," he said. "Maybe a month or 2. Stay as long as you need." That was my first mistake. The first month was fine. Ethan slept a lot, applied to a few jobs, helped around the house. He cooked dinner a couple times, mowed the lawn once, seemed genuinely grateful. We'd watch basketball games together, drink beer on the porch, talk about Dad's old pickup truck and Mom's terrible meatloaf, normal brother stuff. Month 2, the job applications slowed down. Ethan spent more time on the couch, more time on his phone, less time looking at Indeed or LinkedIn. When I'd ask about his search, he'd get defensive. "I'm networking, building connections. You can't just apply blindly anymore." Month 3, he stopped looking entirely. "I'm thinking about starting a business," he announced one evening. "Consulting. Project management for startups. I could work from home, set my own hours." "That sounds great," I said carefully. "What's your business plan?" "Still developing it." He never developed it. By month 4, Ethan had settled in completely. Rearranged the guest room. Bought his own coffee maker and set it up in the kitchen. Started referring to the house in ways that made me uncomfortable. "We should repaint the living room. Our lawn needs better drainage. I'm thinking about converting our garage." "Ethan," I said one Sunday morning, "this is my house." "Not ours. Mine. You're staying here temporarily." He laughed it off. I know. Just habit. Force of speech." Month 5, I started documenting. Call it instinct, call it paranoia, but something felt wrong. I created a folder on my computer. Utility bills in my name only, mortgage statements showing my sole ownership, dated photos of Ethan's belongings in the guest room, text messages confirming his temporary status. I also started recording conversations on my phone. Oregon is a 2-party consent state, so I couldn't use them in court, but I wanted them for my own reference. Month 6, Ethan's mail started arriving at my address. Not just forwarded mail, new accounts. He'd updated his driver's license to my address. Changed his voter registration. Started getting bank statements sent to Ethan Mitchell, 2847 Southeast Morrison Street. "Why are you using my address for everything?" I asked. "I need a permanent address for job applications and benefits." "Is that a problem?" "It's misleading. It's practical." Month 8, he started talking about legal rights. Casually, like he was just curious. "Hey, Aaron, what happens if someone lives in a house for a certain amount of time? Like, do they get any tenant rights?" "Why are you asking?" "Just wondering. I was reading about it online. Apparently in some states, if you live somewhere long enough and contribute to maintenance, you can establish residency rights." "Ethan, you don't pay rent. You don't pay utilities. You're a guest, not a tenant." I know. Just interesting legally." That conversation got recorded too. Month 10, I told him he needed to leave. Ethan, it's been 10 months. You need to find your own place. I've been patient, but this was supposed to be temporary. I'm working on it. Working on what? You're not employed. You're not consulting. You're living off your divorce settlement and sitting in my house. I'm going through a hard time, Aaron. I thought you understood. I do understand. But I need my space back. I'll give you 60 days. That's fair. 60 days? He looked genuinely shocked. That's not enough time. It's more than fair. He didn't move. 60 days came and went. When I brought it up again, he said he'd talked to a lawyer who told him I couldn't just kick him out without following proper eviction procedures. Eviction procedures? You're not a tenant. You don't pay rent. I've been living here for almost a year. I've established residency. You need to go through legal channels. That's when I knew. Month 13, the certified letter arrived. Ethan wasn't home. He'd started spending more time at a coffee shop downtown, networking. So I was alone when I opened the envelope. The document was titled Notice of Adverse Possession Claim and Residency Rights Assertion. It was signed by an attorney named Douglas Purnell from a firm in Beaverton. The letter claimed that Ethan Mitchell had been residing at 2847 Southeast Morrison Street for 13 months, had established it as his primary residence, had maintained the property, and was asserting his legal right to remain indefinitely under Oregon's landlord-tenant law. It also included a secondary claim, that because I had accepted his contributions to property maintenance and allowed him to establish permanent residency, he was entitled to a possessory interest in the property that could, under adverse possession statutes, lead to partial ownership if he remained for the statutory period. My hands shook reading it. My brother, my own brother, was trying to steal my house. I called my attorney immediately. Sarah Chun, real estate lawyer, had handled my home purchase. I scanned the document and emailed it to her. She called back in an hour. Aaron, this is legally garbage, but it's also dangerous. He's got a lawyer arguing he's a tenant with rights. Oregon law is very tenant-friendly. If we're not careful, this could drag out for months. What do I do? First, do you have documentation that he's a guest, not a tenant? I have everything. Texts, emails, photos, recordings, financial records showing he's paid nothing. Good. Second, did he contribute to any property maintenance or improvements? I thought about it. He mowed the lawn a few times. Helped me fix the back fence once. That's it. That's problematic. His lawyer is going to argue those contributions establish a tenant relationship. We need to prove he was a guest who occasionally helped out, not a tenant with responsibilities. How? We fight back. Hard. File for unlawful detainer. Prove he has no lease, no rental agreement, no payment history. Demonstrate he's claiming rights fraudulently. And we report him for attempted fraud. Report him to who? The Oregon State Bar. What his lawyer is doing, making an adverse possession claim on behalf of a guest who was taken in by family, is ethically questionable at best. Possibly criminal if we can prove intent to defraud. I went home that evening with a plan. Ethan was in the living room watching TV, eating pizza I'd paid for. Hey man, he said casually. How was work? Interesting. Got some legal mail today. His face didn't change, but his hand paused mid-reach for another slice. Yeah. What kind? A notice about adverse possession and residency rights. From your attorney, Douglas Purnell. Now he looked at me. Aaron, I can explain. Explain what? That you're trying to steal my house. It's not stealing. I've been living here for over a year. I've helped maintain the property. Under Oregon law, I have rights. You're a guest. I let you stay because you were family and you needed help. You don't pay rent. You don't pay utilities. You've contributed nothing financially. I've contributed with my labor. I've maintained the property. That counts. You mowed the lawn 3 times and helped me with 1 fence repair. That's not maintenance. That's a guest helping out occasionally. Ethan stood up, his face red. You can't just throw me out. I have rights. My lawyer says. Your lawyer is setting you up for fraud charges. Adverse possession requires hostile possession, meaning you're occupying against the owner's will. That's not what happened. I invited you in. I've asked you to leave. You're refusing. That's not adverse possession. That's trespassing. You're wrong. I'm not. And Sarah Chun, my attorney, is filing unlawful detainer paperwork tomorrow. You have 72 hours to vacate, or we proceed with formal eviction and fraud charges. Fraud charges. You claimed primary residency at my address without my permission. You updated legal documents, driver's license, voter registration, to establish false residency. You hired a lawyer to make a fraudulent legal claim on property you have no financial interest in. That's fraud, Ethan. Criminal fraud. His confidence cracked. I need a place to live. I can't afford anywhere. I thought if I could just establish that I live here, maybe we could work out a deal. A deal? You were trying to take my house. No. Just get recognized as a tenant so you couldn't kick me out without cause. My lawyer said it would give me leverage to negotiate better terms. Better terms? I've been letting you live here free for 13 months. There are no terms. You're a guest who's overstayed. Ethan sat back down, deflated. What happens now? You leave. Voluntarily tonight, or we do this the legal way. I'll give you 3 hours to pack. You can go to a hotel, go to a friend's place, I don't care. But you're not sleeping under my roof another night. He looked at me with something like hatred. Jessica was right about you. You're cold. You don't care about family. I cared enough to let you in. You cared so little about me that you tried to steal my home. He left that night, packed his car full of his belongings, refused to look at me, drove away without a word. Sarah filed the unlawful detainer anyway, just to establish legal record. We also filed a complaint with the Oregon State Bar against Douglas Purnell for pursuing a frivolous and potentially fraudulent claim. Turns out Purnell was semi-retired, took cases on the side, and hadn't properly vetted Ethan's claim. When the bar opened their investigation, he withdrew from representation and apologized to the court. Ethan tried calling 2 weeks later. I didn't answer. He sent an email. Aaron, I'm sorry. I was desperate and scared, and my lawyer convinced me I had options. I never actually wanted to take your house. I just wanted to secure my living situation. I know I messed up. Can we talk? I replied. You tried to steal my house. We're done. 6 months later, I heard through our cousin that Ethan had moved to Seattle, was working at a warehouse, living in a shared apartment. Getting his life together, supposedly. Trying to rebuild after the divorce and the unemployment and the catastrophic decision to betray his own brother. I changed the locks on my house. Installed a security system. Made sure every legal document clearly established sole ownership. And I never invited him back. Today, I'm still in my house. Still in Southeast Portland. Still single, still working for the city, still living the quiet life I built for myself. The guest room is back to being storage. The coffee maker Ethan left behind went to Goodwill. The only reminder of those 13 months is a file on my computer labeled Ethan Evidence, which I keep just in case. Because I learned something during those 13 months. Generosity has limits, family doesn't mean immunity, and sometimes the person you save is the one who'll try to destroy you. I opened my home without hesitation. My brother tried to take it without shame. And the legal system, for all its flaws, recognized the difference between a guest and a thief. Ethan wanted to claim my house as his residence. Instead, he claimed a place on the list of people I'll never trust again. Some doors, once closed, stay closed forever.